What's up, Taiwan? I'm Louise with news from here in Taiwan and around the world. The spectacular collapse of a crane onto the path of a metro train in Taiwan is now known to have been caused by a broken cable. One person was killed and 10 others injured. Wednesday's tragedy has renewed concerns about safety standards in the construction industry. Bing Wong reports.
A construction crane fell midday in the middle of a busy work week from the roof of a high-rise building onto the tracks in the central city of Taichung. The train was unable to stop in time before crashing into the crane. 10 people were hospitalized while one person has died. This video shows the wreckage inside one of the train's carriages. Initial investigations found that the crane fell because of the cable holding it up broke. The Taichung city government and labor ministry have imposed a fine of around $36,000 on the construction company that managed the crane.
要重罚，而且要重重的赔偿，因为不只是打坏我们的这个捷运，那也同时呢，也造成我们营运的一个影响。
It was also found that the crane was old and the demolition process was flawed.
那应该是在拆卸的过程，可能是我们材料的老化，或是在作业的程序上，可能有不注意，才会造成这样的结果。
According to the Labor Ministry, the company managing the project has reported 7 major construction site safety incidents over the last 5 years. This recent accident has reignited the debate about construction accidents near train railroads. In 2021, a Hualien train derailment that killed 49 people was also caused by a truck falling onto the track. Officials said they will review the guidelines for construction companies so that incidents like these won't keep happening. Alex Chen and Bing Wong for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan's military has confirmed that its purchase of the HIMARS system from the United States will arrive a year earlier than scheduled. But what is HIMARS, and how could it help Taiwan defend itself? Jaime Ocon explains.
This is the HIMARS. That's short for High Mobility Artillery Rocket System. Developed by the U.S., it's one of the most advanced rocket launchers in the world, and it will be soon part of Taiwan's arsenal. Taiwan has purchased 29 of these systems, and the first batch is set to arrive by 2025. The weapon systems will play a key role in the nation's defense.
So why does someone want a HIMARS on the battlefield is because of the modularity and the ability to shoot and scoot when you are in a defense mode. So the operators of that truck can actually shoot and immediately scoot because it is a wheel-based item.
This shoot and scoot technique has been used with great success by Ukraine in defending against Russia's invasion. Ukraine's armed forces have been able to use the HIMARS and other artillery systems to hit key Russian targets in their offensive in the south of Ukraine.
They used their long-range precision munitions to create a situation that the Russians had to respond to. They blew all the bridges, they blew ammunition depots, command and control networks, and basically through fires and maneuvering closer to the unit, surrounded about 20,000 Russians.
This capability is something that Taiwan is looking to get its hands on. The country's recent purchase of the HIMARS system comes as it faces a growing threat from China, which sees Taiwan as its own territory. Many of Taiwan's artillery systems are old and outdated. The HIMARS would reinforce the country's defenses and help modernize its military.
HIMARS rocket system is very important to Taiwan defense. It's because it's not only the long range, but it still has very precise attack capability.
Thanks to the HIMARS' long-range strike capability, Taiwan's military would be able to position the system far away from the front lines and still be able to defend its borders. This ability is ideal for defending against a potential amphibious invasion from China.
We can use the HIMARS system launching the counterattack from the other side of Taiwan, for example, like eastern coast or east side of Taiwan, because the range is about 70 kilometers. So it is much more better for Taiwan defense. So we needed it very badly.
With the first batch of the HIMARS set to arrive a year ahead of schedule, Taiwan's hoping that this new system can not only protect the country, but also serve as a powerful deterrent. Kamashu and Hameokan for TaiwanPlus.
China's increasing military aggression towards Taiwan has prompted countries around the globe, including the US, to rethink their defense strategies. The Philippines' northernmost province finds itself on the front line as the world's superpowers square off. Rick Lowett travelled there and sent back this report.
People in remote Batanes are used to life on the fringes. Isolated from the rest of the Philippines, supplies can only arrive this far north when the weather permits. But now, the islands known for its windswept landscape and as a rural idyll have more to worry about than the next typhoon.
That's a big threat for the small countries like us and islands like this one. It's a peaceful island, it's a peaceful province. Then if there's some military operation here, what will happen with us?
Last month, US and Philippine forces practiced landing drills on the Batanes coast, part of the largest ever joint military exercises between the two countries. As the United States and its allies face up to China's increasing military ambitions in the region. 20,000 indigenous Ivatan people live on these islands, which are geographically closer to Taiwan than Manila. Taiwan is less than 200 kilometers from these shores, and the waterway separating it from the Philippines, the Basha Channel, is now a major military flashpoint. China, which claims Taiwan as its own, has been increasingly sending its military boats and planes into this choke point as it ups threats to invade Taiwan. To help prevent that, the US has been supplying Taiwan with weapons, but the Western superpower has stopped short of making a firm commitment to come to Taiwan's defense. Now, the US is building up its own military presence in the region, gaining access to Philippine bases in provinces closest to Taiwan. It's a military partnership touted by Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. on his recent visit to the White House.
Geopolitical issues that have made the region where the Philippines is possibly, arguably, the most complicated geopolitical situation in the world right now. And so it is only natural that for the Philippines to look to its sole treaty partner in the world.
The family of 48-year-old Batan native Protogenes Galarion lived through the Japanese occupation during World War II. Oh, be careful here. Tunnels built at that time still dot the hilltop near his ancestral farmlands. Now, Galarion is concerned that increased militarization could again put Ivitans in the line of fire.
I even don't know how we will confront a crisis like this one. I mean, jokingly, I was telling my friends, even if we dig and make a hideaway, you know, just a tiny capsule will be sent to us. In a tiny island, we will be probably dissolved in just seconds. So hiding, I think, right now is not an option.
Even if Batanes is not directly caught up in a conflict, the effects on the island province could be huge.
The food security of our province will be compromised should there be an actual hostilities between China and Taiwan. Plus the resources of Batanes, which is very limited. So we cannot afford a big number of refugees or population transiting from Taiwan to the Philippines through Batanes.
The Ivitans are welcoming an influx of post-pandemic tourists, and the boost is given the local economy. But there is also a growing uneasiness that the impact of the China-Taiwan standoff could also soon be reaching these shores. Patrick Chen and Rick Lowett in Batanes, the Philippines, for TaiwanPlus.
For more on the situation in Batanes, TaiwanPlus reporter Jeremy Olivier spoke with Rick Glauert about what he's seen there.
So what's the overall scene on the ground there? Does it feel militarized?
So the Balikatan exercises, which took place, less than a month ago, there were landing drills on this island, and at that time you saw military helicopters, US military landing amphibious landing crafts, planes going over, and at that time, definitely there was a sure sign that the military build-up in this region, and in particular in the Philippines, had reached this small northern province. Now that the exercises are over, it's not like you see more military hardware or equipment or more military personnel, but we do know that this province does want to develop its infrastructure, and that could include its ports or its airports, and one way to do that would be to use the kind of cooperation with the US military, which we've seen in other parts of the Philippines.
And of the people that you've spoken to there, is there what's the awareness of Taiwan and its situation? Is there a sense of support or solidarity?
There are eyes on Taiwan. There are cultural links, and that there are other things that links the two countries. But I think most people here, they're wary of China. They don't trust China. They may, look upon Chinese aggression negatively. But I think most people here really just want to live in peace and get on with their lives. I don't think they're going to start risking things for solidarity with what they might see as a Taiwan cause, when really they just want to live their life as they have done for, centuries here.
That was TaiwanPlus reporter Rick Glauert speaking with Jeremy Olivier. The US says it's sending a $1.2 billion military aid package to Ukraine. The package will include air defense systems, ammunition, and training for Ukraine's armed forces. The US has given more than $35 billion in military aid to Ukraine since Russia invaded the country in February last year. US intelligence shows that Ukraine could be preparing for a major offensive in the summer. US chip materials supplier Entegris has opened its largest global production hub in Taiwan. The 54,000 square meter site opened on Wednesday in Kaohsiung's Southern Science Park, a dedicated zone for tech companies, including chip giant TSMC. Entegris expects to invest around $500 million and will also look to hire more staff. The move comes despite calls by Washington to bring more chip manufacturing to the US. Taiwan's athletic games for university students have wrapped up, and the champions are now turning their attention to an even bigger challenge, the upcoming Asian Games in China. John Van Trieste has more.
2.25 meters, a new record. On this track field in Taoyuan, high jumper Fu Jiaoxuan has earned his ticket to this year's Asian Games. It's a grand finale to days of qualifiers focused on student athletes, the National Intercollegiate Athletic Games. Fu is one of 32 who will represent Taiwan in track and field events.
除了正选达标的选手之外，我们还可以再征召其他的那些100跟400的选手来组成一个接力队。所以目前我们的选手是超过30位了。
And it's not just track and field. Over the past 2 weeks, venues across Taiwan have hosted qualifiers in 20 different sports. Now that they're all wrapped up, it's time to focus on the next prize, a medal at the Asian Games. This year's event will take place in September and October in Hangzhou, China, after a long delay due to the COVID-19 pandemic. For some, like high jumper Fu Jiaoxuan, though, it's been satisfying just to qualify.
太漂亮了！很感动啊，就是因为卡了2年多，2年多之间就是有怀疑自己很多，就是被别人讲话或是什么，就是开始怀疑自己。但我有很多学长啊，还有朋友，就是会在旁边支持我，就说你本来就可以了。今天我觉得我证明了。
Now, months of hard training lie ahead for Fu and the other athletes as they prepare to go head-to-head with an entire continent. John Su and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. I'm Louise Watt. Take care, and we'll see you next time.